Wildings, welcome to or welcome back to the Wilding Astro Tarot YouTube channel. My name is Jade Rewilding and it is a pleasure to have you here on my channel today for our pick a card general tarot reading about what your life will be like with your forever person. In the next section of this video, I'll explain the reading in a little more detail, including what you can expect and how to get the most out of your reading today. But for now, as always, I hope you're enjoying. I was supposed to say you're enjoying the vibes as we put together today's ritual space. Obviously, you're welcome to skip ahead if you want to get straight into your messages today, but there's definitely a magic to being part of this opening ritual. So I would also love it if you want to stay and soak up some of the good vibes. It's nice to be able to share this with you guys. I definitely get a lot out of it, being able to share this little opening time with you guys. I'd also like to use this opportunity to thank everyone who came to my TikTok live on the weekend. It was such a good opportunity for us to connect in real time, and it's always interesting to hear more about what's going on for you guys. I did some really cool readings for some really beautiful souls, and I loved that. Obviously my channel and the way I read is not for everyone. I do find that younger souls have a more challenging time with my content. It seems to go over their heads, especially because we talk so deeply about the cards and how they correlate more to the soul or spiritual journey. So it's not a simple story like some of the content on the other channels, which I love. I love consuming that content too, but yeah, it's definitely very different to what we do here. So obviously, souls who are having a more experience-based lifetime aren't going to gel well with what we unpack here. So I know that the people that are being guided here are definitely going to have to be fairly advanced souls for my readings to resonate, but every time I get the chance to chat to you guys, I'm still definitely blown away every time, even though I know kind of what we're really doing here. Yeah, I'm still amazed by especially what cards choose to reveal themselves and like kind of what's going on for you guys. It's crazy cool. Yeah, but I love that for me. And it just lets me know that we're on track with doing what I hoped this channel would do. But it looks like I'm running out of time to ramble about how much I love you guys, and we're just about ready to finish setting up our ritual space. So that will have to be all for today, but let's officially get into today's reading. Okay, Wildings, in our video today, we're going to ask the tarot for messages about what your life will be like with your forever person. This reading is going to have 3 parts. We'll start with the basic themes of your life and your relationship together using our astrology deck. After that, we'll get more detailed messages about what's going on for you guys in the future, whatever timeline Spirit chooses to reveal to us, and basically how you guys are handling that together. And finally, we will use some of the oracles to let us know if there's anything important that you need to know now to be prepared for this future with this person. Because given that like you have the gift of time when you're hearing this reading, I'd love to make the most out of it so that it's hopefully helpful as well. What else? Lastly, as always, we'll get an affirmation for you guys to walk away with, to use for the rest of your week. If at any point the messages are starting to resonate, I would love if you can hit the like button and leave me a comment if you have the capacity to do so. I always love to hear from you guys. If you enjoy today's reading and you'd like to stick around for more intuitive tarot readings like this, where we use my background in education, psychology, sexology, yoga and mindfulness to read deeply into the tarot, I would love if you could subscribe. This tarot video today is sponsored by my online tarot course, Unlocking the Wisdom of the Tarot, which launches at the end of the year. So if today's video inspires you to learn more about the tarot, you can sign up to the course early to enjoy an early bird discount of 50%, which is a massive discount for the amount of content that you're getting. Like, you're getting over 1,000 hours of very, very structured content, so that you can like learn the tarot deeply without relying on memorizing. Yeah, it's like very mindfully put together, like based on my first bachelor's degree in education, so that you get the most out of it. Yeah, so this discount will expire at the end of September, which is only 2 months away. So yeah, you've only got 2 months to get in for that half price pre-sale discount, and know that all the proceeds are literally just going to my bills so I can continue to make content for you guys and finish off the course before the launch date. Obviously the whole course is scripted, and the basic structure is all put into Teachable, which is the platform that's going to be hosting it already. The only thing that's left to do is record my voiceovers, and also animate the videos. If you've seen the announcement post, like all the animation that's in the announcement post is a very similar theme to the kind of animation that's in all the videos, that are like maybe a third done already for the course. So yeah, like that will give you a good taste of what it's going to be like if you watch that video. I will link the official announcement video below, but if you want to know more about the course and you want to watch it, I will leave the clip at the end of every reading today, so you can watch that after your reading to learn more. With all the basics out of the way now, let's get into my tips for getting the most out of your reading here today. So for today's reading, you're going to choose either pile 1, 2, or 3, then use the timestamps below to head to your reading to receive your messages. If you're drawn to more than one pile, that's so fine, so normal. Your reading just might be a mix of readings, so start with the pile that you're most drawn to, and then obviously you're welcome to come back and select another afterwards if you feel like there's still more for you. So really just consulting your intuition on where to start and whether or not to come back. If you're not immediately drawn to a pile, I am going to leave you a little freeze frame in a moment after I finish speaking, that will be time stamped below as well. So you can head to that, pause the video, close your eyes, take some deep breaths, then open your eyes up again and see if after that little reset, you're then drawn to a specific pile. If you're still not called to a pile, this video just might not have a reading for you today, but if you subscribe to my channel, I will do another video like this so you can try again another time. Yeah, so don't worry about it. I don't know if I have another video like this on my channel already. You can check, maybe let me know in the comments, or let others know in the comments more so. But yeah, I will do more readings like this in the future if this one just so happens to not align with you today. What else? Today's reading is going to be a general reading. Obviously it's the age of Aquarius, so general readings are super, super accurate right now because we're all doing a lot of kind of collective healing and like connecting to universal love, which is why I think tarot is definitely popping off on like all platforms at the moment. So I will be trying to read to the more dominant energy coming through. I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, I'm going to be trying to read to the more dominant energy coming through. So if you find there's bits and pieces that your situation slightly differs from the collective, just bringing along your own intuition and discernment. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And yeah, you can always like adjust the messages to fit your circumstance, because usually I'll try and describe what the general energy of each card is. So if your situation can't take the interpretation that I give, yeah, you should be able to like fit that onto your situation based on kind of the general energy that I described first usually. If at any point you start to feel called to get a more personal and specific private reading with me, I'll leave the links to do so below. I offer 3 kinds of readings. The first is a single question reading where you can clarify something that might be on your mind or that might come up during the reading. For this reading type, you'll need to head to the link in the description box below, make the $50 AUD payment, and attach your question and email as a note. Secondly, I offer combined Astro Tarot readings, which are much more detailed. It includes a written astrology reading as well as a video tarot reading that are both uploaded onto my Google Drive, and you're sent the link to access them both. For this reading, you need to head to the link and fill out a request form. It is a bit of a longer form, but you can basically build whatever kind of reading you would like from the ground up with this option, because there are so many ways to fully customize your reading to suit whatever it is you're wanting or needing right now. And after I receive your request, we'll arrange a reading and an invoice over email from there. Everything's obviously done on PayPal, so like very securely as well. Finally, I offer astrology only readings that are also very detailed. It comes with a written astrology reading and an interpretation video. This reading also has a build your own reading request form, and it's arranged over email from there as well. But yeah, you just spend a lot more time talking about your specific astrology and no time on the tarot for this type of reading. But now that all of the instructions, disclaimers, and plugs are out of the way, it's time to choose a pile, either pile 1, 2, or 3, and wherever you end up, I'll see you there in a moment. Hey there, pile 1, welcome to your reading. If you chose this beautiful pink agate crystal, then this reading is most likely for you. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. So we're going to start off with just a couple of general energies about your life with this future person, potentially someone who's already in your life, but what will life be like with pile 1's forever person, please? What will life be like with pile 1's forever person? So it's likely you and your forever person were with each other in past lifetimes. You've potentially been married before, especially if you get married again in this lifetime. And it seems like this incarnation is all about creating lots of love, lots of support within each other, a lot of stability. And also both of you potentially really aligned with your purpose, with your soul work, and maybe contributing to each other's soul work in some way. There seems to be like some sort of meshing, networking between the two of you. but definitely working on something that feels very aligned to each of you and very aligned to each of your strengths. Potentially there's some karma from past lives for you guys to work out, to transmute in this life, through sacred work and through like building a really loving connection, because we have both the South Node and Pluto coming out. Whenever Pluto comes out, it refers to some sort of kind of destruction and then building something new. Yeah, I think whatever went on between the two of you in your past life, you're really going to have to let go of. You're going to have to really let go of any maybe current life hang-ups that you might have because of any pain or betrayals from the past life from this person, or that you might have also initiated towards this person. Yeah, there's definitely going to be some sort of transmutation with the two of you in terms of the love that you share across multiple lifetimes. It's very likely that a big part of your life in this lifetime might be like really focused on friends, community, maybe colleagues if you guys are engaging in some sort of sacred work where there's a bit more of a network of people. Also potentially humanitarianism of some regard. So if you guys are passionate about social issues like sexism, racism, like homophobia, like whatever it may be, there's potentially going to be some opportunity for you guys to work together in kind of uplifting the consciousness around whatever that thing might be. Given that the 11th house and Uranus both came out, these are heavy Aquarius energies, which has a lot to do with universal love. And like, yeah, just like love and appreciation for all things, and like really wanting life to be fair and kind, and yeah, mostly like loving and connected for everyone, and to like really end any injustices that might exist around you. So yeah, this might even be part of your soul work, is some sort of like activism, or this is just something on the side that maybe your love will help you guys transmute across people, like across other people and other times. Like even if it's just that people know that, say, you're vegan, or maybe people know that you're a queer couple, or whatever it may be, like you're going to make a mark on the world together for sure. Yeah, that seems like most of the energies that's kind of going to be the base for you guys in the future of your life together. But we might go ahead and get some deeper messages about what's going to be going on in your life, how you guys are going to be handling it together. Can we get some more details about what their life is going to look like with this person, please? Can we get more details about what their life is going to look like with this person? Please clarify this High Priestess energy, please. The Page of Swords as well, please. So there's going to be a very deep and spiritual element to your life with the person who you'll end up spending the rest of your life with. Potentially you guys are really going to explore very divine masculine, divine feminine dynamics. And whatever you guys end up doing in this life, because you're bringing this kind of like spiritual, soulful energy to what you're doing, it's actually clearing karma from past lifetimes that you've also been together. So the Ten of Swords, this is Sun in Gemini energy. And if you look at the artwork, it looks really menacing because it's a person being stabbed literally by 10 swords. But what it means is killing like an old version of yourself, especially a version of yourself that has a lot of like false beliefs, maybe overly attached to certain identities or ideas, because it's a suit of mental processes. But the sword suit is also very connected to spirit and to ether. So there's this like seeking of higher truth, and like almost seeking the perspective of your soul self as well, that comes with this suit. And the Ten of Swords is the total manifestation of this in very tangible form. So this is like you really experiencing yourself as like almost anew, like really letting go of the past, letting go of the old self, and experiencing life in this really fresh perspective, like letting go of especially past pain and betrayals. It's come out with the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, which right way up this card often refers to things turning in your favor. When it comes out in reverse, it usually refers to some sort of very natural karma that's going on between the two of you, based on, in this case, past lives, because we had this South Node energy coming out. So what you guys will experience in this lifetime is like just a very natural kind of progression of the karma between the two of you, that's built up over multiple lifetimes. And you guys will have to, together through your own kind of very spiritual, soulful practices, like really come to your center, and really learn how to especially let go of the past, and also just like heal together through creating this like real container of like love, connection. You'll be able to like transmute this Pluto energy, will be able to transmute pains from past lifetimes together. Because yes, when the Wheel of Fortune turns, when we're not centered, if we're being thrown around by past karma, it doesn't always feel like it's bringing us blessings, but it is just like not as fun blessings. Like it's a blessing to be able to be together and work out karma from past lives. It's just not necessarily as fun as maybe if this card came out upright and it was talking about a newer relationship where there is none of this karmic build-up. But yeah, it looks like this lifetime is expected to be very successful for you guys. It seems like you're going to get a lot out of it and maybe move forward a lot. We have the High Priestess and Chariot energy. The High Priestess, this is really the divine feminine in her very intuitive, connected, spiritual power. It's someone who really understands the pull of the personal unconscious as well as the collective unconscious. Like she really understands the big picture in terms of where a single man has shadow, and then where man as a collective has shadow. And she's really about working with those energies in a very natural way, and like bringing a lot of like light and wisdom and consciousness, and like really uplifting whatever is found in that unconscious or collective unconscious, especially bringing light to it, especially bringing love to it, especially like almost embracing the shadow in a way that the shadow feels so safe and so seen, that it is no longer a like kind of destructive undercurrent in life anymore. And I would say this is like, if you resonate with more of the divine feminine energy, like this is really what you'll bring to this relationship. And And yeah, it seems like whoever's the divine feminine polarity in this relationship is really needing to step up to their high priestess era in this future connection to help the two of you work through what karma you've accumulated in past lives. Potentially the high priestess, because she's like so in touch with the unconscious and collective unconscious, she might even be able to see some of what that past karma might be. She might be able to like kind of lift the veil on that a little bit. So whether that's you or your partner, there's going to be this kind of like unveiling of the past in this lifetime. You're going to really be able to maybe see and understand the past karma in a bit more detail than maybe what you've been able to see in previous lifetimes, and this should help shift it because you'll be able to bring that awareness to it and maybe change the narrative around whatever kind of underlying stickiness there might be in the connection. We also have the Chariot energy. I'm sensing that this is more of the energy that the divine masculine will bring. So the Chariot's traditionally drawn as a man in a chariot, kind of out of town. He's separated himself to really kind of go into spiritual solitude, and it's to allow the divine to like speak to him and to speak through his actions rather than kind of acting unconsciously or impulsively or whatever it might be. The Chariot's like a big reset energy. It's like really balancing between connection and solitude, and making sure that they're prioritizing solitude so they can like connect back to God and then come back to their life, like just very centered, which it seems like it's important for this divine masculine to be centered in this life. Because this Wheel of Fortune does reference being centered. So it's important that he's very centered in this life and makes the most of his spiritual work, going into solitude in like a very constructive way, not a destructive way, which potentially might have happened in the past. Like he might have, the more divine masculine energy might have looked for solitude in more of a either passive aggressive way or just like not healthy, like not necessarily using that time to connect back to God. But it's important that this time he does that. The traditional artwork is also drawn without reins, so the man controls his cart with his mind alone. He doesn't need to physically manipulate and force the sphinxes, which draw his cart in the Rider-Waite deck. And similarly, this artwork looks like it's drawn without reins. This is like really especially being in control of the conscious mind and not letting especially very egoic thoughts dictate your behavior. It seems like that's going to be the divine masculine energy. They just seem to be very in control and very connected to God in this lifetime. It's going to be important that you guys have a very spiritual aspect to your connection, and potentially especially learn a lot more about spiritual pursuits, and that can be in whatever flavor you like. This can be learning more about occults, learning more about a particular religion that feels really good, learning more about even just personal development on more of a kind of base. I want to say basic. It's not basic. It's just maybe the more digestible version of personal development that we see more in the current culture. Whatever it may be, this Page of Swords is really a very curious, exploratory energy that's just really excited to learn stuff and know stuff, and to kind of go into go into that exploration. the Four of Swords, this energy is very interesting. So the artwork is traditionally drawn with 3 swords facing down, and then one sword facing one sword parallel to the horizon. And what it represents is being able to go into a very spiritual kind of reprieve, like being able to like take time away from life to be in meditation, be in like a movement practice like yoga or whatever it may be, to really like use these practices to connect back to God, and to also like allow yourself to like pause, rest, recuperate, and again, it's a very centering energy, which is interesting to come out with this. It's like really trying to get you recentered and grounded whenever kind of life kind of shakes you up. And maybe this is why these energies kind of keep coming out, because potentially you guys have multiple lifetimes of karma, and it's obviously hard to remember past lifetimes. It's not impossible, it's just much more difficult. So you might find that it would be very easy to be kind of thrown off by not necessarily seeing the full picture. So it seems like it's important for you guys both to like really connect back to God, to connect back to that bigger picture, to like try and lift the veil on things that maybe occluded from you just based on the nature of incarnation and the way that the Earth School works. So yeah, it'll be important for you guys to rest. These swords also represent past battles, and the Three of Swords, which is the main battle that this card references, the Three of Swords represents the world sorrow. It represents being so sad, being full of grief for the initial separation, which is when we separated from God, when we separated from spirit in order to reincarnate, especially for the first time. That kind of gets solidified into the body every time we cross the abyss from the non-physical to the physical and have to be separated from the life giver by having the cord cut. We're kind of like re-traumatized every time we reincarnate from the initial separation, which was our spirit, from wholeness, from oneness, from that sense of unity. And like most losses that we experience deep grief for in life is really just re-triggering that old wound of like, I had something that made me feel almost whole and complete, almost reunited with God, and now it's lost. So yeah, life's losses really is about re-triggering that separation. And then the gift of that though is if you can be really conscious of that, and understand where that sorrow is really coming from, then you can take whatever separation, whatever grief you experience in the physical, and use it as a fuel to connect yourself back to God, to connect yourself back to spirit in some way. Like even if it's just through the wisdom of whatever the experience teaches you, you're becoming like more united with God in the process. And so this Four of Swords is really about leaning into that process, about like being able to reflect on any past wounds and understand how they're a reflection of our yearning to be kind of whole and complete with God once again. And yeah, like really taking that wisdom into these situations so that maybe we're not taking them so personally, and so maybe we can get a bit more out of them, and so maybe we can actually use them to get us closer to God once again. Because once we go through all of the kind of wisdom and soul growth, we will reunite with spirit once again, once we've become a match for spirit, when we're almost whole and complete, and as godly as God in a single kind of soul. Yeah, so it seems like you guys are going to be unpacking very, very deep concepts here, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, we'll be doing a lot of spiritual work around this sort of stuff. So the last two cards we have is the Seven of Cups in reverse, and then the Seven of Swords right way up. So these are very interesting energies to come out together. Anytime a 7 comes out, it's an energy that's it's a victory energy, but it's a victory over our own fears, and it's a victory that reminds us of the infinite nature of the soul, that our energy is never created or destroyed, it just reincarnates, it just is redistributed. So it seems like sometimes the Seven of Cups, especially in reverse, can refer to illusions. And the cup suit is very to do with like all of earthly pleasures. Like anything that brings you pleasure really ends up in the cup suit, because it's all about emotions and feeling. So yeah, this might be referring to like needing not to get caught up in the illusions of earth, of like maybe not taking the earth realm too seriously, like obviously enjoying life and enjoying all of the pleasures that life has to offer, but like just staying really connected to that soul part of yourself as well. Because the Seven of Swords, like traditionally it's often used to denote that there's been some sort of deception or betrayal, and we've kind of discussed this in the earlier part of this video, that there's something that went down with the two of you in a past life, some sort of betrayal, some sort of deception on one or both sides, and that's potentially going to just be this like undercurrent in your life that you're going to be working through in this lifetime. And so yeah, these cards are kind of saying like don't take that too seriously, like it's like kind of the cards are trying to say see it for what it is. See that like the triggering in this life and like maybe repeating old patterns is like intentional for you guys to change it, change the pattern. So yeah, you guys will be working out definitely some deep stuff from whatever your last lifetime is. It might be good to look at your synastry charts when you're pretty sure that this person has entered your life, and just see what especially your 12th house synastry is, because that stores a lot of our past life energy. I do have, I think, at least one astrology video on this channel about past life astrology that might be helpful. I just don't remember what's in it, that you can like start with. But yeah, I think that might be everything that I'm really seeing. But we'll move on to find out if there's anything you need to know now to prepare for this connection, using our oracles. What do these guys need to know when it comes to preparing for their future life with their future forever person, please? What do they need to know now to prepare for their future with this forever person? What do they need to know now? Okay, so what you guys need to keep in mind is that this forever person that you're going to meet in this lifetime, you've been together before, and it's your plan to be together again in this life in order to ascend, in order to reach new spiritual levels together, to work out any kind of past karma and betrayals that you might have with each other, and maybe unpacking why they came up, like where there's shadow in each of your souls, on just like a really deep level. This is like a very advanced like souls, and yeah, it seems like in this lifetime you're going to transcend some obstacles that maybe you weren't able to transcend in past lives. Like maybe you're going to experience like definitely a deeper connection with this person, definitely a lot more love. Yeah, this is like really opening your heart and having everything be perfect, like getting together with someone who's just like so right for you. It seems like, yeah, this life you guys are going to work out a lot, but it will take a lot of trying to unpack stuff. You'll have to like get really good in terms of communication. Communication's like the essential ingredient to rectify two separate people's kind of separate worldviews and trying to create some sort of comprehension between the two. So yeah, you guys work on communication skills, especially now, because yeah, the work that you're going to be doing with your forever person is going to be so deep, and it's going to transcend more than this lifetime. So the better you are at communicating, talking about your feelings, the better. Because a lot of what you guys are going to do in this lifetime together has these connotations from past lives, it might feel like there's just always this undercurrent of like maybe more, maybe just different feelings, maybe like there's just something that you can't quite see that seems to be under the surface with your connection. Try not to take that personally, or like see it in the other person as personal either. Like I don't think either of you will be trying not to remember past lives. Like it's just part of Earth School. So yeah, like if there's this undercurrent of something, it might not necessarily be shadiness from this lifetime, it might be shadiness from past lives, and just like trying to bring as much love and light and compassion to those situations as possible, and like dealing with it as best you can in the confines of like what you know in this incarnation, will be important. Yeah, so you'll have to come into this with a very open mind, it seems. But I would say that what you'll end up with will be like definitely worth it. Do we have any more messages, please? Yeah, this is going to be a very abundant connection. It's going to be a very beautiful connection. Beauty represents like the 6th Sephira on the Kabbalistic tree of life, and this represents like where everything is totally balanced and there's this real opportunity to integrate light and shadow, like reflect off each other in a way that's just like real perfect like symmetry. And yeah, it's a connection with a lot of soul in it as well. The further down you go on the tree of life, the more kind of unstable and removed the energies get from God. But the 6s is kind of like the last time where there still feels like there's a lot of God energy in the tree. So yeah, I would say that yeah, this is going to be very beautiful. There's going to be this like element of like definitely feeling very connected to God. Definitely like it's giving like twin consciousness, like yeah, just a lot of balance between the two of you. And that doesn't mean it's perfect, like either of you are perfect, like you're going to have your imperfections, but it's just going to be such a good balance. Okay, so finally we have faith. It seems like you're going to have a lot of faith in this connection, especially because there'll be things that you won't necessarily see, be able to see because of the nature of like forgetting past lives when you incarnate. Like there's going to be an element of like having faith, like thinking really generously of each other, and also really trusting the process. Emotions are definitely going to be running high in this connection, and so yeah, like really mastering this like communication will be important. to deal with the emotions running high, because sometimes it'll feel like the emotions are running so high and it doesn't make sense for like what's actually going on in the physical, but it's because there's this undercurrent of past lives there that are really going to be magnifying the emotions and making it seem like a bigger deal than maybe what it would otherwise seem like if you guys had a very clean slate. We also have the gibbous moon. This moon represents being very, very close to achieving your goals. So potentially you might already know this person, you might have met this person, you might be close to this kind of timeline. This timeline might not be speaking too far into the distance for most of you. It might even be happening now for some of you. Yeah, hopefully if that is you, if you feel like you're closer to this reading has definitely helped to clarify why maybe why some of the stuff in this connection is there and like what the purpose is, and hopefully it'll help you move forward with this connection and the important work that you're supposed to be doing in this connection in this life. So yeah, I would say for pretty much everyone here, this is definitely saying close to me. So for your affirmation to take away with you for the rest of the week, we have my inner being is connected to the divine wisdom of the universe. So yeah, take this however you need to take it. Yeah, it seems like maybe there's more knowing about this situation and maybe some of the specifics. Yeah, let's consult that. But I think I'm going to leave your reading here. It's been a pleasure reading for you. Thanks so much for making it all the way through. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope you got something out of it. If you did, I would love it if you can like this video and leave me a comment if you have the capacity to do so. But definitely if you do not, don't worry about it. If you'd like to get more intuitive tarot readings like this from me, the subscribe button is also there for you as well. And if you'd like to know more about my offerings, there's plenty of info in the links in the description box. And I've also inserted the announcement post for my online tarot course at the end of every reading today. So you can stick around for that to learn more about that now. But yeah, it's been a pleasure reading for you. And until we see each other again, ciao. Hey there, Part 1. Welcome to your reading. If you chose this beautiful crystal, then this reading is probably for you. But as always, bring along your own intuition and discernment. So you can take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and adjust anything in between. Let's start with getting some general themes or general energies of what your life is going to be like with your forever person in the future, please. We have pile of twos. general energies. We have the general energies for pile 2's relationship with their forever person, please. So your forever person is probably going to be a right person, wrong time, potentially a twin flame situation where you're going to have to experience some sort of separation from each other in order to make this connection work, to make it the connection that it's supposed to be. This is a very intentional connection. We've got the North Node and South Node, so there's definitely been some planning on the other side for how this connection is kind of supposed to go, and what the intent of the connection will be. So yeah, you guys can expect to kind of meet someone, have it fall apart for whatever reason, and then reunite with this person. It seems like when you do reunite though, you guys will have a very deeply spiritual relationship. You'll kind of understand why the separation needed to occur in a big picture. Uranus is very big picture thinking. It's like really understanding like the tapestry of life and how each thread needs to be woven a certain way to get the desired outcome. So yeah, you're gonna have like really a solid understanding of like what the big picture thinking was with the path that this connection is supposed to take. It seems like a big part of it will have something to do with like kind of all your wishes coming true. It just needs to go a certain way for everything to come together the way that you really desire. But yeah, it seems like you guys are going to have potentially a very loving, abundant, potentially very beautiful connection together. Taurus is Venus ruled, so there's a lot of like really juicy like pleasure energies here, like really being magnets for abundance, security, safety, and all the other second house themes. Seems like this connection will be built on unconditional love as well. Pisces deals with 12th house themes, and the 12th house is very interesting. It's a very split energy. It's kind of half unconditional love and then half like the collective shadow, which it's actually very fitting that the two of them come together in that way, and that Pisces is even representative of two separate fish, which is the balance between the collective unconscious and unconditional love. And so it seems like your relationship will be a manifestation of these things, like a manifestation of some very intentional shadow that the two of you have probably decided on before you incarnated. And each of you will probably reflect back to each other's shadows. And then also a real balance of like this kind of deep unconditional love and bond that maybe is essentially what gets you through any periods of no contact or separation that you might need to go through for the greater good of this connection. I think that seems like everything that's kind of immediately popping out to me. But can we get some deeper messages about what their life will be like with this person, please? Can we clarify this 10 of Wands too, please? And 6 of Swords too, please. So this is almost definitely a twin flame connection, but at the very least, right person, wrong time kind of connection, where there's going to definitely be this necessity for a separation in order to align with kind of the higher order purpose of this connection. Whenever the death card comes out, it refers to something needing to die for new life to bloom. So yeah, it seems like you guys will probably be in connection, but the initial connection will need to dissolve in order for you to make a big personal transition. The Six of Swords is traditionally drawn as a boat crossing an ocean into a land where the skies are colored gray for wisdom. And it's a boat that carries a man, which is a symbol for the conscious mind, a woman, which is a symbol for the subconscious mind, and then a child, which is a symbol for the inner child. So it's really about a journey that you go within yourself, where you integrate these three parts of yourself, your conscious, subconscious, and inner child, and essentially you move from it's essentially moving from one state of being to another, and move from a much more maybe naive state of being into a much more enlightened state of being, where you're just like so wise with experience and so wise with the integration of all parts of you. Yeah, it seems like that's going to be super necessary for this connection to do what it's supposed to do. We have the North and South nodes. So we know this is very intentional. It was set up through soul contracts, most likely before you incarnated, to serve its purpose. We also have the Ten of Swords in reverse, which is a similar energy to these two. It's saying that there needs to be a death, especially of the ego, the identity, any false beliefs that you might have, or like just any ideas that really just aren't serving you. The sword suit has to do with mental processes, and it also has to do with spirit as well, becoming closer to like higher truth, higher knowledge, rather than letting the kind of like lower mind dictate your life. So yeah, these cards are essentially all saying the same thing. Like there's going to be some sort of death of the old, birth of the new, in this very like enlightened divine counterpart, heavy like reflection energy. What's interesting about the Six of Swords and the Lovers card is they do actually share a lot of symbolism. So in the Lovers card, it's traditionally drawn with a man, which represents the conscious mind, and a woman, which represents the subconscious mind, like harmonizing. It's kind of the marriage between two parts of the self that allows us to be a very integrated person, and it's kind of allows us to carry out our soul work in a much deeper, better kind of way, because we're not like fragmented within ourselves. We're like very united within, so we're able to approach life like with just a lot more kind of integrity. So yeah, there's definitely some similarities. It's almost like these two cards mirror each other, which I would assume that you guys do as well. You guys will be like heavily mirroring energies, like somewhere where one of you has light, the other has shadow, and vice versa. A really good example of this that's just coming to mind is, for example, potentially there might be a runner-chaser dynamic, which more maps onto like anxious and avoidant attachment. Someone with an avoidant attachment prioritizes autonomy. Someone with an anxious attachment prioritizes closeness. And so the avoidant person's priority, autonomy, and space often is that how that manifests, triggers the anxious person's attachment, triggers them in a way, because obviously their priority is closeness, and vice versa. Like this person prioritizing closeness will trigger this other person's need for autonomy and individualism. And so there's that kind of like mirroring, and really what you're looking for is this kind of perfect balance, this safe place in between, where say the individualism and personal boundaries of each person in the relationship is like really respected, as well as the two of you being able to create a lot of intimacy and closeness, and safety as well. So it's kind of this kind of mirroring where no one's right or wrong. It's just one person's shadow triggers another person and vice versa, in a very mirrored way. And you're kind of looking for that middle ground together. And maybe this intense mirroring is why you need to go into separation, to like come back into this connection really clear on the higher purpose of the connection, so that you're not taking each other's triggers so personally. You understand that it's coming from a more spiritual place and like a higher plane and a higher intention for you guys to transmute shadow and like move towards unconditional love, which is this Pisces card. It's equally unconditional love and equally shadow from the collective unconscious, that needs to be integrated, brought a lot of love into the situation, acceptance, even embraced and revered, to find this like real middle ground, this real integration of those two energies so that they can coexist, but in a really healthy way. I would say that everything that you guys go through in your separation will be really important to the overall success of this connection when you guys enter a reunion phase in whatever capacity, however that looks. There might actually even be blocks for you guys when it comes to your separation phase, where you might feel very insecure, unstable. Maybe like there'll even be blocks in terms of your blessings, like potentially your blessings will be rerouted for a little bit of time, so that you can kind of concentrate on getting these more spiritual energies right, without any material distraction. The Pentacle suit has to do with everything kind of manifesting, everything taking physical form, and it encompasses like so much. It encompasses like the physical body, the like home, the spiritual home, finances, soul work, like pretty much anything physical that you can think of. And when the most stable and the most abundant of those two energies come out in reverse, like I'm sensing there's going to be a little bit of instability and a little bit of block, just to make sure you're not distracted, because that is the shadows of the Pentacles, because everything is so fun and juicy in the physical, and we have bodies that just obviously resonate with all of the physical aspects of life. Sometimes our blessings need to be kind of paused for a minute to just like make sure that the ego is not getting distracted by them, especially if we've got important soul missions, which it looks like you guys do. So yeah, expect like before you guys enter your reunion phase that it'll almost feel like your life has been on pause for a while for some reason. The reason being obviously the spiritual thing, but it just might not immediately click that that's why the pause button has been hit. Because you guys have like deep soul work to be doing, that need a lot of attention. The Ten of Wands, this is a Saturn in Sagittarius energy, and it's really about where there's old patterns that potentially are still burning you, where you need to like direct a lot of energy, a lot of healing, a lot of self-love, potentially work on your own boundaries, just like slow things down and like kind of nut some stuff out, and just like when this card comes out, it's really asking you to give like all of your attention to it. Like this energy is like, give me all of your attention right now, like be so determined and so dedicated to this work. It's just super, super important. And it seems super important to your happiness, especially. The Ten of Cups is like modernly a big energy of like alignment, happiness. It's a Mars in Pisces. And it's really about like embracing like the true nature of flow of life and of energy, and like really being in that flow, being a part of it, being able to like kind of surrender and rest, especially surrender to kind of like the divine will, and like rest the more egoic self that has very specific ideas about how things should go. so that you're like not trying to force life, like you're really able to be in tune with life rather than trying to manipulate it too much. This can also be an energy of like really awakening a sexual power within yourself, a very creative power. So yeah, potentially this whole thing is trying to get you to like this real kind of in the flow of life state, and just like really peak your creative energy as a sexual being. So yeah, that's super interesting. Yeah, so basically the cards are kind of saying this connection overall will be challenging based on the energies that are coming out. And the future won't necessarily be easy. I think these cards are essentially trying to say, like, maybe if you do really feel like this is a twin flame or separation reunion kind of situation, like, try not to expect it to be perfect. There's always going to be this dance of light and shadow and like working together. But it seems like it's a challenge that you guys signed up for. And it's a challenge that you want. Like, you potentially have dedicated a lot of this incarnation to working together and working this stuff out and like contributing this energy to the collective unconscious, so that more people can experience healing like this, especially healing to do with the divine masculine, divine feminine, probably by the looks of these cards. Yeah, because it seems like the earth needs to heal that in particular, and have those two energies working together again, and that will be a big goal of this lifetime for you guys. So yeah, this is definitely not one of the readings where I'm like, oh my god, everything's gonna be amazing, everything's gonna be hunky-dory and you're gonna like love life the whole time. It's like, no, this is going to be a very real existence. This is going to be a very real experience of relationships. It's going to be very up and down, but there's going to be a lot of like self-transmutation, a lot of like maybe deaths and rebirths, a lot of I think it's giving healing. It's giving so much healing that it's going to very positively impact the world around you. But we might get some oracles to find out if there's anything you need to know now with the wisdom of time on your side, to prepare for this connection. What does this group need to know to prepare for this forever connection, please? What does this group need to know to prepare for this forever connection, please? What does this group need to know? Okay, so it seems like what you guys need to know is that a lot of how things will play out early on in this connection has to do with healing your own personal inner child and growing as an individual. There's definitely going to be pain, there's going to be heartbreak, there's going to be a separation, there's going to be some really challenging energies that come up. Just remember, it's the mirror reflection of you, it's the shadow of you. So where you have light, this person will have shadow, and vice versa. And what you're looking for is you're looking to come into that middle ground. You're looking to be able to balance the energies and find that happy medium between what each soul is prioritizing, to like really have this like very healthy connection that's going to help heal the collective. So yeah, like through your healing, you will heal others. Just know that it'll get messy, and it'll be challenging. Potentially it might be a good idea to find a way to be maybe on a friend basis with this person, or at least be very civil, like maybe part on good terms when you guys do go into a separation, which almost definitely you all will. It's an important part of how this connection is supposed to play out. Yeah, I think if you leave the connection like with some semblance of closure. Like, it doesn't need to be perfect, but there just needs to be some amicable energy there. It's going to help you with your healing, and it's going to help you guys be able to reconnect, and to like rekindle your love. Like, I would say if you leave this on a really bad note, potentially you might do a lot of damage to this connection that's really, really hard to rekindle. So just be mindful of that. Like, you want to leave this connection the first time in as best a state as possible, in order to essentially experience all the blessings that you're supposed to experience out of this connection, and experience the awakening. The lightning bolt is actually a super special card, because lightning in the tarot represents awakening, especially spiritual awakening. It's said that the Kabbalistic tree of life comes together in a lightning flash, and the Kabbalah is like really where traditional tarot essentially comes from. So this is actually a really deep card to get, and it really talks about going through the whole process of transformation, change, epiphany, spiritual awakening. And yeah, it seems like that's the point of this connection, that you're both going to become very enlightened as a result. And yeah, just, I think in terms of like what is going to happen, it's just better if you guys are on like a decent footing. So yeah, do everything you can to ensure that. Obviously, there's part of that that's out of your control and in the hands of the other person. So as long as like you have no regrets, you know, you've put your best foot forward and made every effort to leave this connection on a really positive note, like, I think that in itself will do wonders for the future of this connection when you guys do rekindle. But yeah, keep in mind that like you can't control the other person, and if they choose a different path, they choose a different path. It'll just be part of the healing that you guys will have to recover from in some way. So yeah, keep that in mind. Is there anything else these guys need to know in preparation for this future connection, please? Okay, there's a lot of power in this connection, which is great and something to be super excited about. But just be mindful of like power can go both ways. Boundaries are going to be super important in this connection, like really connecting with your personal boundaries and understanding where your limits are. Especially if this is someone who you feel a lot of unconditional love for, like they can sometimes be the most dangerous, because when we love something so unconditionally, unless we can really match that with unconditional love for ourselves, when things go wrong in the connection, if we're not matching unconditional love for the other as we're matching unconditional love for the self, then we end up internalizing lots of negative beliefs about ourselves, about how we're wrong and blah, 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 because we haven't balanced the love between ourselves and other. And boundaries are really the key to doing that. Yeah, it's important to have, it's even more important to have boundaries with people that you unconditionally love than the ones that you don't, to be honest. Finally, we have this balance energy. So again, we've got so much mirroring, so much perfect opposite energy. I would assume that you guys are twin flames, almost definitely, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of mirroring with the two of you. It's definitely going to be a lot of mirroring. I don't know if you can hear, but it's raining here now. That's why it's like gone dark very quickly. Do we have any last little things that these guys need to know? Okay, so luck is on your side. Look at the bigger picture. There's going to definitely be positive forces helping the two of you through this. So don't feel like you're going to have to do it on your own. Potentially you were guided here from one of those positive forces. So yeah, like just trust that this thing is happening in a much bigger web, a much bigger tapestry of life. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of positive forces that are going to help you because what you're doing here is super important. Also, we have a new romantic cycle begin, so this is telling me that when you guys reunite, it'll be like almost a new connection. It'll feel like almost a different people. So yeah, like expect it to be really different when you guys do reunite. I would say some of you might be in separation from this person now, and some of you haven't yet met this person, but either way, just trust the process as much as you can and know that things will be different in the future. I choose to think positively because I know I am a manifestation of my thoughts. Okay, so this seems important for you guys to know right now. You can take this affirmation with you into your week. But I think I'm going to leave your reading here for today. If you made it all the way through, thank you so much. I really appreciate all of your support, and I hope you got something out of your reading today. If you did, I would love it if you could like this video and leave me a comment if you have the capacity to do so, but if you don't worry about it. And if you'd like to get more intuitive tarot readings like this from me, the subscribe button is there for you as well. If you'd like to know more about all my offerings, there's plenty of info in the description box below, as well as links. I've also inserted the announcement post for my online tarot course at the end of every reading today, so if you stick around, you'll be able to learn more about that now. But it has been a pleasure reading for you, and until we see each other again, ciao. Hey there, Pile 3, welcome to your reading. If you chose this beautiful blue iolite crystal, then this reading is probably for you. But as always, bring along your intuition and discernment so you can take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and adjust anything that falls in between. We're going to start with getting some of the general energies or themes of your relationship with your future person using our astrology deck. Do you have anything else in terms of general themes? Do you have anything else in terms of general themes when it comes to what pile 3 and their forever person are going to experience in their life? Any more general themes for pile 3, please? regards to their relationship. So this connection is going to be with someone who, from the moment you meet them, most likely you're just going to know that this is where the connection's heading, that it's heading to this kind of forever building a life together kind of energy with this North Node coming out. We also have Pisces energy, which is very intuitive. Like, you're going to be able to sense this. Pluto's modern ruler is also Scorpio, so there's a lot of like sensing some sort of like destiny or path between the two of you. And it's most likely that the two of you did intend to connect in this lifetime for the purposes of like spiritual enlightenment, transformation, especially if there's any like karma between the two of you that needs to be worked out, or just like each of your karma in general. Even if you've potentially not been together before, like, it seems like this life will work out each of your individual karma in a lot of ways. You'll be able to maybe let go of the past, either from the past connections of your current life or the past connections of your past lives as well. We have one of the axes here. We have the Sagittarius Gemini axes, and these energies are very interesting because Gemini is much more kind of basic in terms of intellectual communication, really trying to figure out why things are the way they are in life in a very physical, maybe even scientific way. Like, it's such a caught up in the physical kind of energy in a lot of ways, whereas Sagittarius on the opposite end of the axis is like kind of leaving some room for spirit, like leaving some room where you just need to have faith, especially in a higher power, and also like having faith in yourself, like being able to not know with certainty everything that's going on in the world around you, and like just being able to like trust in yourself to deal with whatever comes up as it comes up. So Sagittarius is more like trust in God, trust in the self, and work on your relationship with God and the self, whereas Gemini is much more about explore, like understand life, ask a lot of questions, do your best to like research them and like find as much certainty as possible. So this is a very interesting axis to come up. It seems like your relationship potentially is going to challenge you guys on that axis, on those concepts. Like, there's going to have to be an element of your connection that is very like practical, grounded, like in reality, maybe learning some really like well used and well backed skills, like especially communication skills. Like, I'm sensing maybe like doing some of the Gottman's work and things like that. Like, there's going to have to be a much more practical side of the relationship, potentially even some couples therapy or something where you're going to have to deal with the more practical side of the connection in a very logical way. But there needs to also be space for a spiritual side of this connection. You might find, especially if you feel like you're very polarized in one of these, like if you're very column A or you're very column B, that your person might be very much the opposite. But really what you're looking for here is like trying to find this balance between the two of you in this lifetime. We have Pisces energy. This is a really good energy to come out when there's some balancing of opposites and like integrating energies, because obviously there's two fish that symbolize it, and there's also two sides of Pisces. There's the unconditionally loving, like very spiritual side, and then there's also the side of Pisces that there's a lot of shadow and a lot of unseen and uncertainty as well. So yeah, it seems like there's going to have to be some sort of integration of opposites in this connection. And particularly one of the big themes that might come up is surrounding the dynamic between, say, the more masculine and more feminine. When Black Moon Lilith comes out, like, she is a champion for someone in their feminine energy, not in a very Eve Empress way that maybe the way we're brought up in this patriarchal society would like us to be. It's more of a woman who is much more connected to the feminine energy that's very like the moon, like really like it's like silver. Silver's hard, gold is soft. Silver's feminine, gold is masculine. Hang on one second. Sorry, my cat was about to knock my whole setup down. Yeah, it's like it's a connection to the feminine that's not like kind of the submissive Eve kind of feminine that's very modern. It's like it's all, I want to say it's a more natural feminine, but it's just a different side of the feminine. There's a side of the feminine that's very like powerful, cold, but just like very in tune with life, but also like cannot be fucked with, like cannot be messed with. Like it's kind of like bad biatch energy, to be honest. Like that's what Black Moon Lilith is. She's like a very like independent woman, don't need no man energy, which is another side of the feminine. So yeah, it seems like the two of you will explore that dynamic a bit more, especially if you find yourself in a more heteronormative situation between two kinds of people that society's put a lot of ideas and pressures on. Like that will be something big to unpack. If that's not the dynamic you're in, if you're in a more alternative relationship, you might need to navigate like the divine masculine, divine feminine, and maybe like avoid the very heteronormative scripts and like look for something more authentic to kind of ground your relationship in, rather than kind of toxic gender roles. Yeah, it's going to be, there's going to be stuff to unpack with all that with you guys for sure. So yeah, take time with that. But we might get some more messages about what your connection's going to be like, how you're going to handle things together, what's going to be going on in this connection in the future, please. What's going to be going on in this future connection, please? Oops. Please clarify the world energy, please. Thank you. And the 5 of Cups as well, please. And the 3 of Swords, please. Okay, so it seems like you're going to get married to this person when you're in your bad biatch energy, when you're in your independent woman, and just like really connected to like your own inner masculine, so being able to set like really good boundaries, and really knowing where your limits are, and definitely not in a submissive energy. Absolutely, there can be surrendering, but like not submissive, feminine, people pleaser, fawn, like trauma response energy. Like when you're really in that power, that's when you guys will get married. That's not to say you might not meet each other before then. Actually, potentially there's a possibility that you'll meet each other before that, and there might need to be a separation between the two of your energies, either like spiritually for a little bit of time or physically, in order for you to kind of get into that energy, and maybe for them to get more into the energy of like compassion, being a really good container for another person and being able to support another person in a more emotional sense. Yeah, it seems like there might be this kind of pause on the relationship at some point, that may even feel like a long-term breakup. But yeah, it's just to like kind of check your energies, because it's important for the purpose of this connection that like you're really in a very empowered state, and you're kind of like waiting until you don't need it. It's coming from a place of wanting rather than needing. Yeah, the Queen of Swords, I find her very similar to this Black Moon Lilith energy. Like she's got a very strong sense of inner masculine, given that it's a masculine suit. So she knows what her truth is. She knows what she sees, and she definitely sees life much more astutely. Like she's just very tuned in, very aware. Like she's got kind of her conscious mind, her spirit, and all of her subconscious like really in check, so that she can be just like very perceptive, and no one can take her for a ride. So yeah, like really when you feel like you're in that energy, that's when this connection is going to manifest into a marriage. It does seem like the two of you are kind of going to be setting an example for like the world around you, like especially people like in your very close sphere, but just more generally of a much healthier relationship than maybe what we see in day-to-day life in the physical. I think you guys are definitely going to have to break down a lot of heteronormative, like very patriarchal kind of gender roles, and like really like find that authentic masculine and feminine energy and that dynamic between the two, rather than performative feminine that might be say very passive, very submissive, or like machismo masculine, so like very egoic energy. Like there's definitely going to be this kind of simmering to do with this relationship of those energies, to like really boil it down to something much more authentic than kind of what we see in life around us. And it's gonna like hit the reset button for a lot of people. Like you guys are going to teach each other and teach everyone else around you how to be in a relationship with someone who's in their masculine or feminine power, in a way that's like healthy, that has healthy boundaries, that has healthy like intimacy, connection, closeness, but also a strong sense of individualism, and like space, autonomy, things like that. So yeah, it's going to be a very powerful connection. But yeah, it seems like at some point there's going to be some sort of rupture, some sort of separation, a lot of pain potentially, but it's really just a pause. The Hanged One represents someone who's really in a spiritual pause, spiritual reprieve, spiritual repose, whatever is the right expression. Like they're just like hitting the reset button to like connect back to themselves and connect back to spirit. And so that seems an essential part of this timeline, for you guys to kind of connect and then potentially part ways for some time, for you guys to kind of come back to each other in the right energy. It seems like when you guys do part, it'll be important that you just like worry about your own energy, stay in your lane, and yeah, work on getting yourself to this Black Moon Lilith Queen of Swords energy, because there is potential that in this separation it might create some space for thinking like you either failed, or that you are in some sort of lack or loss or something, or there might be just space for like regret and all those normal human emotions to seep in, and spirit doesn't want that for you. And I'm fairly certain that's probably why you're guided to this reading, to just remind you, like, you're destined for great things, and like one small little hiccup doesn't mean anything has failed or not going the way it's supposed to, or that you somehow missing something or not enough or whatever it might be. Like, it's just part of the plan. It's just part of making sure that you have the space to fulfill your own life purpose, and that your person does as well. Yeah, the Three of Wands right way up. This is traditionally drawn as a man looking out into the ocean, looking at his own ships, and he's like, it's implied that he's like the ruler of the land, and he really has nothing else to do, like, because everything he has wanted, especially in his spiritual self, has been attained. And so I'd say this is coming out in reverse, is just saying like, it's just an opportunity for you to work towards that feeling of accomplishment, attainment, and personal victory in your own right, before like complicating that with adding another person into the mix. The Five of Cups is traditionally drawn with a person who's looking at three spilled over cups while he has two behind him that remain full. And it's really about, it's an energy of like, you never lose everything, or in most cases you don't lose everything, you lose part. You can just lose part of things to create space for something else, and in this case it'll be creating space for a better relationship. So like, you'll still have two cups left over, like you'll still have a lot of love and abundance elsewhere and things to be grateful for elsewhere. So don't get too wrapped up in the loss when it happens, because it's not really a loss. It's a separation in order to gain yourself. So yeah, kind of not surprised that you're guided to this reading now, to find out, just to be warned, and just to like go into it with as clear a mind as possible, and like, yeah, to be prepared. You may find some of you might be in this connection already and potentially in the separation phase, and maybe that's why you were drawn here, just to remind you of like why it's going the way it's going. Or this might be a future connection that your guides want you to be prepared for. So potentially that's why you were called to this reading. But we'll find out anything else that you need to know about this connection, or what's helpful for you to know while you have the advantage of time right now. Let's see if there's anything else for you that might be a helpful wisdom moving forward. Okay, what does pile 3 need to know? What foresight would you like to leave for pile 3 when it comes to their life with their future person? What do you need them to know? Okay, so yeah, an essential part of this connection is going to be the separation, and for you guys to have the space and the opportunity to kind of check yourself before you wreck yourself, in a way, like really have the space to come into your own, so that you can come into this connection the way that it is intended, and for you to be able to have this like really unconditionally loving, like equal, very receptive energy, being able to fall in love with like a lot of depth, and feeling confident in opening your heart and getting together and dealing with everything that's going to be mirrored to you. Like, there's going to be a lot mirrored to you that you guys are going to have to work out. So you just need to be in the best space possible to receive this connection. So yeah. Be prepared for a separation, and it might be important to yeah, just like work on conversation and communication skills leading up to this time to help you guys through it as best possible. Obviously, there's just some things that might come up for you both that might kind of get you guys off track in terms of like feeling like you've failed or lost when that's not really the case. So that's potentially a good idea. And or this card might also be referring to like maybe just needing to take it slow and like really getting to know each other. If you guys are long distance, that might actually be helpful because you might be able to kind of connect and communicate a lot more before getting carried away with this connection. So yeah, be mindful of that as well. Yeah, like the separation phase of this connection seems inevitable for pretty much everyone here. So yeah, just be really prepared for that and just know what its purpose is, that it's like definitely very intentional. It's meant to serve a purpose to help you do you as best possible. Yeah, you're gonna have to be patient with this connection. It's just gonna come together in a lot of steps. It's just part of the path that you guys agreed upon before you incarnated, and it's just the best and easiest way to go about everything, because something that's really important for you in the work that you're doing in this connection is really strong personal boundaries, and that's this Black Moon Lilith Queen of Swords energy, like just such a strong inner masculine that yeah, can't be taken for a ride. It's really important. Yeah, and it'll also help you deal with his energy, or the divine masculine energy. It might not necessarily be him, who yeah, will be trying to explore this like getting deeper in terms of intimacy and like opening up more, being a better container for your feelings too. Like just you having your personal boundaries will do a world of good before this connection kind of reaches its kind of peak, but that is where it looks like it's heading towards in any case. Like we had the Four of Wands, which is traditionally a marriage card, come out, so be very surprised if it ended up in a situation other than that. So we've got your hard work is paying off. Potentially when you're in that separation, or if you're in that separation now, it'll feel like such hard work. It'll feel like you're being challenged so much, but know that it's like really paying off. It's going to pay dividends in the rest of your life. Like when you have a really happy, healthy connection for the rest of your life, like you are going to be thanking yourself that you worked so hard in the time of separation. We also have surrender to the divine and show the world the real you. So we're looking for some faith in the divine. We're looking for a lot of authenticity and just like kind of what we've been saying a lot in terms of like that authentic feminine, which it feels like a lot of you will be seeking, like that real balance of like having a lot of inner strength, but also yeah, like being connected to it in a way that's not what's been pushed onto you, like really exploring that for yourself. So yeah, don't take on the social construct, like navigate what's right for you in that. And there's going to have to be some space for kind of almost writing your own story with that. Oops. Could we have a final affirmation for pile 3, please? So I've got, I trust in the divine guidance of my inner wisdom. All of the answers exist within. So yeah, take that as you would like to. But I think I'm going to leave this reading here for you today. If you made it all the way through, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support and I hope you got something out of it. If you did, I would love if you could like this video, leave me a comment. Only if you have the capacity to do so. Honestly, I understand if you don't have the energy to give right now. All good. If you'd like to get more intuitive tarot readings like this from me, then the subscribe button is there for you as well. Lastly, if you'd like to know more about all my offerings, there's plenty of info in the links in the description box below. I've also inserted the announcement post for my online tarot course at the end of every reading today. So if you'd like to stick around for that, you can learn more about that now. But it has been a pleasure reading for you, and until we see each other again, ciao.